Hello, hello. Nope. Hey guys. Hey. Hello everyone. We're so happy to be here. They're gonna introduce themselves soon, but can you see we have so many pretty faces here? Today is like girls power. Woohoo! Okay. Sharon. Sharon. I can see Sharon here. Let's see who is here. Let's say hello to who is here.
Yes.
Always coming in first up. That's what's up.
Thank you, Clarissa.
Yes.
You are like the real support right here. And also Binks. Binks is always here. I don't know where she is right now, but something happened because she's
Yeah.
always around.
Yeah.
Anderson.
Anderson. Yeah. And Natalia. Brian! Wow.
Oh, look at
that.
Ah,
Shoot.
it's me, honey. I love you.
Happy. There you
Happy.
go.
You got a hot
Oh,
wife.
that's Bianca.
Yes, hey, Binks. Cabello.
Cabello.
Looks physically challenged.
Very funny. Very funny, Cabello.
Who run the world?
Girls.
Eh. So if you weren't here before, we're very excited to welcome. We're gonna have this conversation, and we wanted to be very informal. We wanted to just feel welcome to this planet of girls here. As you can see, they're all so pretty and so important in the society and so strong. That's like we always are. Amen.
Amen to that, sister.
Um, and we are actually very, very excited for tonight because the whole idea of the podcast came out in the previous podcast. I don't know if you guys saw, but it was like all men. And then I was like, oh, how about we just have one with all girls? So that's what's happening right now. This is a pioneer episode, and we hope you enjoy it. So basically, we're going to talk about women in mission, and we're gonna start a little bit this universe that it's not very well explored yet. And we're gonna start introducing ourselves. So, hi. If you don't know me, my name is Liz. I'm from Brazil, and I'm a missionary kid. That means that my parents were missionaries way before I was born, and I've been in this world since then.
Yeah, my name is Lorena. I am Junior's wife. He is the one that usually hosts the podcast, and I'm usually
Cool guy.
at home with the kids and just tick, 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 tick on the comments. Yeah, but yeah, I'm a mother of two boys, Davi and Luca. Davi is 9 and Luca is 7. And I've been in missions for what? I'm losing count. Since 2003.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, it's 70. Thank you.
Good,
Our
good
math.
girl.
Good
Yes,
girl. You
good
got
math,
A math. Well
Jen is
done.
always so good with math and dictionary. She's good with everything, guys.
Yeah, so there you go. So 17 years, and yeah, so married, 2 kids, and I've been in on the block for a while.
Good. Hey, good to have Lorena here. Thank you very much, Lorena.
You're welcome.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jen. I am from the States. My missionary experience has been 5 years, and I'm single, so I'm going to be speaking from that perspective today. And I'm stoked to be here.
Hey, thank you. I think some of you already saw Jen in like previous episodes, so maybe you're familiar with her.
Thanks for having me back.
Yes.
Okay, hey guys, I'm Lucy Maeko, and yeah, I'm a new kid on the block on the podcast. Okay, I'm a new kid on the block, and I've been in mission since 2014. So yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah,
yeah,
6 years.
and
I'm
yeah.
also good in math. When I want.
Thank you. And yeah, so it's been amazing doing missions, and I've discovered my love for teaching in missions, and I've been teaching English for let me see your math. Since 2017. How many years is that?
3 years.
Oh yeah.
There you go. Points for me.
Yes.
8 years. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and yeah, in this missions journey, I met an amazing man who's watching. Hi.
What's up?
And yeah, I'm engaged, so I'll be talking from that perspective. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yay.
That's cool, guys. I don't know if you noticed, and we didn't plan this at all, but like we have a single missionary here, we have an engaged missionary here, we have a married missionary here, and we have a married with kids here.
You
So it's just
see?
Lorena. So
How amazing.
right?
I'm the end of the whole cycle.
No.
I feel so old now.
Oh my word, you're not old.
The end of the cycle is like dying on the cross. No, just kidding. Okay, that was
I
terrible.
hope our cycles don't end with dying on the cross. Jesus already did that. Thanks.
Okay,
Oh my
guys.
gosh.
So we are really indeed very excited for this because I don't know about you, but I only heard about one person is speaking about women in mission, like being directed this. Have you heard about this anywhere?
There's a few books out there, but not really like this type of platform. It's like really untouched, which is so funny because there's more women in missions than men by far,
That's true.
and people don't really talk about what that's like.
Yeah. So we just want to challenge you to really engage. We're going to start with our first topic, which is like, how is for women, for us, to be in leadership? Like, what are maybe the challenges that we find in that? And if you are a woman and you've been in leadership, please just comment down here in this section because we really want to read and we want you to interact. Or if you're a man and you saw something different that happened like to you and something that happened to a woman, also write down below here because we want to talk about this. We want it to be healthy, okay? So, yes, let's hear from our guests. They're very nervous. No, they're not. Yes, but like, as a woman in missions, how is for you girls to like live in this world? What do you think it's maybe not the most challenging thing for everyone, but like for you, like individually? What would you say that will be?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel, at least like we're talking now from a missions perspective, and also within YWAM, because this is like at least for me, it's my only missions experience. I've been with YWAM for 17 years. I haven't really tasted any other missionary organization for that sense. But I think if we look as a whole in YWAM, I think there's a lot of space for women, in
Yeah.
like for leadership positions and for everything. Of course, there is the a cultural aspect as well, depending on where you are. But at least from my personal experience, I think it's largely acceptable, in YWAM for women to be in leadership, and people respect that. And of course, you have some challenges here and there, And yeah, sometimes like I am right now in leadership here, so there's sometimes you feel like, what about if it was a man? Would they do the same? So there is that thing, in the back of your mind. But yeah, but I don't feel like I experience so much challenges for being a woman specifically. Yeah, but that's my personal experience.
Okay. Okay. I think for me, I wouldn't say like specifically in leadership, but because I'm a woman and I don't know, people sometimes just assume that I want to work with kids ministry.
Yeah, there is that as well.
And it's not that I don't like kids, but I really prefer like working with like teenagers more, or like young people, or even adults or old people. I'm very good with kids, but it's not like my thing. So I feel like sometimes, especially when like we are in an outreach ministry, it's like they always push for the women, like, oh, you must be good with kids, or must be good with this, or do that ministry, or like if you have to decorate something.
Oh, you're a woman. You must be good with kids, or you must be good with this. Here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
on.
Take this
Please do it.
decoration. Like, we're gonna have a wedding tomorrow. So like, can you just be ready by 2 p.m.? It's like, no, that actually never happened. But you get my point. So sometimes I feel that stereotyping, it's very big for me. It's like a struggle I have. I even comment with my husband sometimes that I don't want to be that person that people ask like to make coffee or to wash the dishes. Sometimes when someone like do those things for me, I just ask Brian to do it. Can you do it, please? I was like, he does. He really does. He understands that really deeply, like upsets me. So I believe that we can do both. Men can also do that. So yeah. Sorry, what?
You said you love it.
No. No.
You can come and join me. Kids ministry.
Honestly-
yeah, Lucy loves it.
Honestly, I'm very good. I'm very good with kids ministry, but because I grew up in YWAM, so you kind of know what to do, what you say, but like it's not my passion. Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
So for me, how I've experienced leadership, and because like with my background, it was always men who were leading, and and you get to the point where okay, men are leading, it's okay, you guys take all the responsibility, and then coming to a place like YWAM where they want you to take the lead. They want to champion you. They see potential in you. And for me, it was kind of like nerve-wracking because I'm thinking, man, I'm going to mess up. Like thinking, I'm used to be led. Now I'm supposed to lead and I'm supposed to give an example. I mean, in YWAM, you must lead by example. So for me, yeah, it's still something that I'm still trying to get my feet into, but I'm slowly but surely working into it. And because for me, I had always felt like, man, leadership is not for me. Like, I'm just good following, just give all the orders, come with the ideas and stuff. And then I come here and I'm surrounded by men who are leaders and they're pushing me, kind of like pushing me to the deep end. Like, Lucy, we believe in you, you can do it. So that has given me a lot of confidence to be able to know that, hey, as a woman, I can lead. I can be able to be influential and have a voice that really matters and people can listen to and follow.
Of
So
course.
yeah, it has really been empowering.
I think I've honestly, let me just talk with Lucy here. Lucy, you have a mother heart of God, and I think that's your strength. Honestly, you're really loving and caring. I can see that with your friends, and you can totally do this. You go, girl.
Thanks, girls.
I agree.
I want you guys to realize here, Clarissa said that she really can relate with me. She's not like big in like kids ministry. Thank you, Clarissa, for the support.
I must say that I also relate to you. So
Hey!
I love my kids. I love my kids with all my heart. But
Because I have to.
almost. Okay, no.
No, but I
kids
don't-
are amazing, but it's like you said, it's not that we cannot do it.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes it's not your calling.
Yeah.
People. I think the problem with the whole thing is just the stereotype. People assume that once you're a woman, you are supposed to fit in these boxes.
Yeah, that's true.
And once you don't, they look like you like, what? And then for me that is the only problem. If you are a woman and you love kids ministry, that's amazing, but let's respect the ones that they don't have a calling for that.
Yeah.
And that does not expect them to
Yeah.
do it just because they are a woman. I
That's
think
true.
that's the problem.
That's true. I would like to also comment what Sinead said here. This is so true. She says, when I led an outreach team with a male colleague, the church leaders or hosts often looked past me and looked to him as the real leader for the decision making and team issues. It was really difficult. Dude, that's so true. That happens like so many times. And even like Brian, my husband and I, we lead a DTS, and I'm not saying only like here in the base, but um, it's so overlooked, no, underlooked. I mean, when they don't see the woman, it's like the couple
It's
is in
almost like you're invisible.
yeah, the couple is in leadership, but but for real, only the man is the one that can make the decisions. I remember we were having this meeting here in the Glory Hall with a bunch of staff, and um, it wasn't like a bad story. I don't think she's gonna be mad at me or anything like that. But like, we have this couple here in the base. They're our leaders as well. So is Bruno, and Bruno has his wife Judy, and then someone was speaking for Judy and was like, Bruno's wife, and then Judy was there, and she just stood up, like, my name is Judy. Yes, I'm married to Bruno, but my name is Judy. I'm not Bruno's wife. And I was like, yes, girl. Like, I felt the frustration, and I feel sometimes that women married to a man that is also in leadership, this is very, very common. Yeah.
I can talk a little bit more about that when we go into, but that's good. I think Jen has an awesome story also about outreach. You said, yeah.
I super identify with what Sinead said as well because I've also led teams. Well, I led a team to Uganda by myself, actually.
Can you speak closer to the...
I was the only staff member leading an outreach team to Uganda once. This was a few years ago, and I was quite young. I was 21 at the time, I think, and I'm still quite young. Let's be real.
Still young. There you go.
But I just remember it like this was my first time leading an outreach team, and in the context of YWAM, this is, I mean, most of you watching this understand what this is. So it's when you take a team of students to another country or another region, and you do ministry with different host churches and teams and things like this. And everyone would approach my male students and say, "Oh, you're the leader,
Speak
right?"
over the mic.
Thanks. You're the leader, right? And then they would say, "Oh, actually, no, our leader is Jen here." And then I walk up, this little short white girl, like, "Hi, I'm the leader. Nice to meet you. I've been the one emailing with you and everything." And I mean, I'm short. I'm not this short, actually, but like, I'm short. I'm young. I get it. I'm a woman. So people just automatically assumed that I wasn't the leader. And that was so difficult because speaking with, especially like Ugandan male pastors and leaders of churches and ministries was quite difficult because they didn't quite take me seriously. And it was hard to actually get stuff done.
I
and
can
have them
imagine.
take me seriously. So, and also in the Middle East, I was in the Middle East a couple of times last year. And I went once with a team and once with just another single girl by ourselves. And when we were just by ourselves, no one took us seriously. They're like, "Why are you here? What are you doing?"
Sure.
And in a culture where you can't even like look a man in the eyes on the street,
Yeah, that's
like
true.
it was very difficult to make progress and get things done and have meetings and yeah. As a woman in missions in that capacity was so difficult because it felt like in a week's time we maybe made like one move of progress because we couldn't walk the streets by ourselves. We had to have like taxis and then be scared about, being kidnapped and things like this. Like these are all realities that my male colleagues haven't had to face.
The whole cultural thing behind, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and
Wow.
so then we would have our male friends there go on meetings with us so that it wasn't us asking
Sure.
another man out to coffee to have a meeting.
I see.
Yeah, it's just like always having another man in the group when he's just there, kind of like a chaperone. When like I'm a grown woman, but like I need my male colleague to chaperone this meeting. Oh, it's very,
Frustrating.
yeah, frustrating and like degrading. I don't know. It made me feel like a little powerless, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was totally worth it in order to do things that we were doing. But my male colleagues have never had to face that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Another thing I was, what you were talking about, I remembered is that if you have a woman on leadership and she knows what she wants, she knows what she wants, she is too pushy or she's too authoritarian. But sometimes when it's a guy and he knows what he wants, like, oh, he's just being firm, he's really direct,
Yes.
he knows what he wants. So like the double standards of like we're doing pretty much the same thing, but like it's always, not always, but sometimes it's more negative towards women than towards guy. And that's not only in missions. I will say it's like
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
pretty much across the board. And it is safe to say that like we're all in YWAM, so we have only this context of being in YWAM.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we're speaking
for
just
sure.
off of one example of missions.
Yes.
And
in our own.
in our
Yeah.
organization, this is how it has been for us. So in other organizations, it might look different. In other,
Yeah,
like, in other-
women in ministry in general, you know,
Exactly.
like if you look into the church context and things,
Yeah.
then it might look, it probably will look different,
different,
you know.
yeah.
Yeah, we're looking from this perspective right
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
Lorena Lucas Jr. just like being funny here.
What did I say?
He's
Lorena
talking you
is
up.
not Junior's wife. I mean, she is my wife, but she's also Lorena.
And
look at what
So
Bianca said.
funny.
So empowering, yay.
What did Bianca
Oh my gosh, and that's so true. Bings, that's so true. Burger came first,
Yes,
so people
true.
always say
Oh,
Burger's
shame.
sister. That's true, and her name is actually Bianca Somers. Okay, so let's
There you
treat her
go,
with
Bianca.
respect.
I have a voice. I am a person. There you go.
Next time I talk to Burger, I'm gonna say that he's your brother.
Yes.
like exactly.
Oh, hi, Bianca's brother.
Exactly. Let's do that.
But you know, using that example, I think like now speaking to us as women, you know, I think we also can't just generalize things and just like, oh, they're doing that because I'm a woman. You know,
Of course.
It's there are a lot of things that is just because it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly.
And even though like we are the same, we have the same value in God's eyes. We portray different roles, and that's reality. You know, we have different roles, and there's not that this one is more important than that one. They're just different. You know, I think once we realize that, and we can fulfill the calling that God has for us specifically, despite if we are a woman or a man. You know, I think stereotypes, they are actually very, how do you say, prejudice? Not
prejudice.
No.
Yeah, no, not that.
Um,
That's not the word in English.
Deteriorating? No.
Yeah, they're bad.
Patronizing? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just that the stereotypes they limit you. You
Yes,
know,
it's
they can limit you, and I think that's not a good thing. If we look, God has called us to be free. You
Yeah.
know, and you know, for freedom we're called. But we think that we need to just understand what is our role and what is our calling, you know, and just go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lucy, can you please dance for us right now? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing Lucy. I'm just teasing.
I can do.
I'm teasing Lucy because she's very nervous. I just want her to like loosen up a little bit.
I just wanted to touch upon what Lorena was saying, saying that, you know, before God, we are the same. You know, because sometimes it can get to a point where you feel like you have to prove yourself, you know, because,
That's true.
yeah, you feel like, you know, I cannot get my voice heard, so I have to try to prove myself. And that can really get you off track.
That's so true.
Because you
Yeah.
get to not be fulfilled in what you are doing simply because you're trying to be a woman in a man's world, kind of like that, you know. And then you forget that, hey, God has made you this way. You don't need to try to be tough. You don't need to try to be somebody that you're not. Your influence will just come by you just being you.
Yeah.
You know, because that can really like be something that we battle with as women. But I really like your point that
See? A mother heart of God right there. Right there.
There
Look at
you
that.
go.
Let's just invite Lucy to speak in our DTSs about the mother heart of God.
There you go.
And I mean, even the things that people say, it's usually, you know, comes from the woman, like being sensitive or, you know, all these are characteristics that God put in us. We should
Yeah.
be proud of them.
True.
You
Of
know?
course.
And we should not like feel like, oh, but that is, you know, I can't be sensitive now. Or I can't be, then I'll show weakness, you know? And
Yeah.
I don't think that's it. I think God, like we said, you know, not trying to build a theology or just preach here. It's just like God made us men and women. And we, together, we portray God.
Yeah.
That's
you
true.
know, so like these
preach it.
things that we carry, this sensitivity, you know, and all of the things that we call like woman things, they are part of God's character.
Yeah.
That's true.
And without it, there's something missing there. So we have something to bring to the table, and it's important.
Look here.
Listen to us.
Yes.
Yeah, we're totally professional. We know what we're talking about.
We know what we're talking about, guys.
Guys, I love Jeza. Jeza, thank you very much. She just comes with facts, you know. She say that women, we are responsible for 88% of missionary work around
Yes.
the world.
There you go.
88%.
Okay, can I also touch on this? Because we
Sure.
need the men to step it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, step up
to the game.
I'm not the type of woman who's like, women are great. Like, I think that feminism can go too far. But I just know that there's so many amazing men of God that we just need your voice. We need your
true.
action. We need
That's true.
your, like, characteristics of God that you bring. Like,
That's
we
true.
have the things that we bring, but we need everyone to do their part. So, I also believe that, like, all of these characteristics are not necessarily gender specific. Like, some of the most amazing leaders I've ever had in my life are so caring and empathetic and gentle, and they've been men and women.
Yeah.
And so I think that,
Yeah.
like, whatever the characteristic of God that he created in you, like, use that. Use the things that he gave you. You know?
Right?
Oh my
I love
gosh,
it.
I want to vote on her.
She speaks so well. Oh my gosh.
Oh my
Jen for
gosh.
president. Sharon is complimenting our background or soundtrack. Is that?
Oh, yeah.
I really like it. Right? So like
Lo-fi
chill and
beats.
cozy.
So cute.
Okay. Do we see anything? Oh, Natalia is also saying, I think also to recognize the gifts of each other. No,
Each one of us
each
have.
one of us have. Yeah, that's true. I
Yeah.
think that's exactly connected what you were saying, Jen.
Yeah, for sure.
right?
Good point.
Ooh,
Okay.
Jeza again, we have the power to multiply.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Girls are on fire. I
Jason's
love
spitting
it.
facts.
I love it.
Yes, Sinead, I was going to say that. Thank you that you said it. Sinead
what
said,
Sinead- yeah.
yes, men, step up, because some of us are looking for husbands. Please show yourself in the midst of the field, please.
And is definitely our next topic. We're going to talk about relationships. We're going to talk about dating. We're going to talk about why women. Is this really a family ministry? Girls, talk to me about it.
No, I think Lucy has to start. She's engaged.
Yes.
Tell us, Lucy, how did you meet your Prince Charming?
Oh my word, we met at the gate.
Are you serious? You met at the gate?
Yeah, we did.
I thought it was a joke.
Okay, guys, is a gateway to Africa and the world.
She's a gateway to
That's
Africa
YWAM
and the
Boosters'
world.
slogan.
It's a gateway for your heart, okay?
YWAMBooster.com. Apply now.
You might find a husband.
Yeah. So yeah, we met here in 2017, and he was doing his DTS, and I was busy teaching in the ELS, and so we became really good friends, and you know we saw that stop it, Liz.
Really
So-
good friends. It
Yeah,
always
that's what they
starts-
call it
Okay,
these
yeah,
days.
We started off as really good friends, but
No, that's good.
yeah, so he was, because he came here with one purpose to do DTS, and he was really focused. So maybe I think on my side it was me who was like, oh my word, this brother. But for him, he was like focused. He wants Jesus. He wants to know what Jesus.
Of course, he was a
is saying
DTS
to him.
student. No
Yes,
relationships. DTS, no relationships.
It's you and God.
Yeah. So then after the DTS, we continued on with our friendship, and then we saw that it was forming into something beautiful.
Ooh.
And yeah.
Can you feel the love tonight?
Yeah, and then a year later, he asked me to be his girlfriend.
Oh
and
my
we started
gosh.
dating. Yay!
Wow.
How long did
after
you date
1
before?
year.
Yeah, how long did you date before you got engaged?
We started dating in 2018. Got engaged last year, 2019.
That's 1 year.
Yeah, 1 year.
Good math, right here.
Wow, guys, we're math legends on this podcast.
Wow.
Yeah, so yeah, that's my story. But
And when are you
Guys-
getting married?
pretty soon. pretty soon, guys. Corona has just been in the
True.
way. So, yeah.
Oh, that's so
But
frustrating.
pretty soon, in Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen. Guys, Calvin is like the sweetest person. My mom like adores Calvin, and she was like, he's the sweetest. He is so gentle. He's serving hard. So like, you scored that one, girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's true.
You got
But
a
I
good
think
one.
he scored more.
Oh.
He's the lucky one.
See what she's doing? That's true. Let's empower a woman.
Yes.
Lucy is a catch for real. He's lucky to have you.
Oh my word, guys. Thank you.
It's real. It's true.
Can you feel?
Okay, let's continue. Let's continue, girls. Come on.
Ay.
Lorena, do you wanna just
Ooh.
go for it? Tell us your version of your guys' story.
we've heard a little bit of Junio's version, so
Oh my goodness. Yeah, Junior and I, we didn't meet in YWAM, so we actually were from the same church. We are almost like from the same neighborhood. Basically, our parents, yeah, they live not far. And yeah, so Junior was from the church for a long time, and
Was he a real Christian?
I'm gonna get in
got you.
trouble. He was a real Christian. He just liked dating a lot.
That's right.
know?
That's right.
Like I think he dated basically every girl in the church.
Yo, Junior.
was there. Yes, yeah. He knows I'm not lying. Oh my gosh, he's gonna start like on the chat like crazy. Okay, so yeah, but he dated a lot of girls in church. I mean, very young. Then,
Yeah, of
He was like
course.
16, 17. And yeah, so my parents went to church. By that time, and I was actually the last one in my family to really decide for Jesus.
Ooh,
Can you believe that?
I can't honestly.
Yes, I'm telling you, my past is a mystery. It's a untold, untold story. Stop there. So when I went to church, then I actually saw Junior once. He was leading worship, and I was like, this guy is like interesting, you know.
pegável.
But he did have a girlfriend at the time. Like for a long time, he dated. I think they were dating for 1 or 2 years by the time.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was also dating like somebody that was not from the church.
Hey.
You know, for 2 years as well. So I was like, a little bit naughty. Yeah. But then I decided for Jesus, like for reals. And then I ended up my relationship. And then I was like really full on. Like I didn't
Full on Junior.
on Jesus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Junior came later. Yeah, so I started. So I started going to church, got baptized, and all of that. And then we were like, I came into the same evangelist group that he was part of already, which was like used drama and dances and stuff in the church. So we were from the same circle of friends for about a year or so until, and then in that meanwhile, he ended up his relationship, but then we were just friends. I completely forgot about that day. When I looked at it, I was like, you know, really, it was out of my mind. I was really full of Jesus, like, I wanted Jesus. So after more or less a year, then we were going with this church group to do an evangelism with the YWAM in Brazil, you know. But by the time I didn't know much about YWAM, but we were like a lot of groups together from churches and things, doing like an open air. And in that day, I don't know, something changed.
Ooh.
You know, it was super cold. I mean, in my town, I'm from Goiânia in Brazil. So it's right in the center of Brazil, and it's really, really hot.
One of the best food ever.
Yeah, best food.
One of the.
Best food
Ever?
ever. Yeah. And yeah, but we do get these 2 weeks in May that is like pretty cold. And then it was those 2 weeks. And Junior came and like, let me help you know, hold your hand. It's too cold.
Hey, before you keep going, you say, "Amor, be careful. This is gonna be on internet forever."
Yeah.
and like big
And
letters.
ever
okay.
and ever. I know. Yeah. So then we started. then it started like that, but we didn't stay, like, we didn't do anything on that day, and then it just started to develop, like, and he was like, we have this saying in Portuguese, cozinhando galo. It's like he was keeping me
Cooking the roost?
like cooking the rooster,
Rooster.
And I was like, man, does he think that I'm just like gonna, kiss him or something without him saying anything? What is wrong with this guy? He's not
Yeah.
gonna say anything. Because it went on like over a month, like that.
Junior?
I'm telling you.
Oh my gosh, Junior.
And then eventually I was like, you know what? This guy, he's like, he dated almost every girl in this church. I'm just going to be one of them. So I'm like, this is not going to happen. Then I gave him a nice break. Like, it's like, I froze
Icebreaker, the
him.
best.
Like, like I'm just like froze him. I was like, yes,
Savage.
no. Yeah, then he...
Can I
on the
hold your
same
hand?
day- yeah.
No.
So then a guy that is actually our friend, he helped out. And he said, Junior told me that afterwards. He said, Junior, aren't you going to say something? Because if you don't, I will. True friend,
Oh my
you know?
gosh.
Yeah, so then he approached me and then we prayed for a while. Because both of us, we knew we had a missionary calling. Both of us from the very beginning. And then we just wanted to make sure that both of us were on the same track. So we prayed and then we dated for 3 years.
Junior. And Junior is saying here that he was super shy for dating stuff. Is that true?
He is actually shy. He is shy, yeah. Guys, believe me, he is shy. For those things, he is, yeah.
Super shy, but dating all the church girls. Nah, Junior.
Shame.
Maybe when
Sorry,
it came to
amor.
you.
Sorry.
Junior, you're not even here to defend yourself, Junior.
Yeah, so then we dated for 2 years. Then we decided to go to YWAM to do DTS. We were engaged by then, and then we did DTS together, which was like a very interesting experience. Being engaged, like we went to different outreach locations.
Yo.
At that time, it was like there was no internet, so like we wrote letters. So I think we did talk about this in the podcast somehow.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. So and then eventually, like a year later, then we got married. Yeah, that's my love story.
And I have 2 beautiful sons.
And now we have 2 beautiful sons, the most handsome boys. in
They
the
really
planet.
are.
Oh my gosh.
They're such
Sinead-
good-looking kids.
Sinead and Junior just keep going. Junior's like, they approached me, Sinead. Not my fault.
And it's like, it's my roast.
It's a
Oh,
problem.
gosh.
It's a problem with men, worship leaders.
Okay, this
Yeah,
is
that's
true.
That's
This
really
is
true.
all the girls in church.
Yeah,
they'll have
that
huge
is a-
crushes.
Girls, please don't go crazy. There are the men
Yeah.
on the block.
Did they throw like stuffed animals at Junior when he was singing?
I don't know.
Or roses?
Or worse.
Or, yeah, I was gonna say, at least it
Or
wasn't worse.
underwear? Didn't want to say here, but
Yeah, there is a guy in Brazil that he's a singer that woman throw underwear at him. In the show, yeah.
Oh
it's
my
a thing.
gosh, yeah,
I'm
that's a
telling
thing.
you, man, that's great. Okay, change subject.
Okay, Lisa, you want to?
but like guys, but bringing to this, like I want to talk about like really the dating environment in YWAM because and how different it is outside YWAM, especially if you're living in the same time in the same YWAM
Oh, I
base.
can say something about that.
Go for
quickly.
it.
Yeah, because like Junior and I, we dated for 2 years before I went to do DTS, and then we did DTS together, and then we staffed together. So it was like 6 months of DTS and then 6 months staffing. So it was the most intense time of our lives. It was
Yeah.
like, sure, because like we were the whole day working together, and so it did take a strain in our relationship. It was a little bit hard in the beginning. It was almost like a first-year marriage without the benefits. It was really because like you were there together like almost 24/7, and
Yeah.
it was really. Yeah, I remember like there were days that are really hard for me to understand this dynamic. And even after we got married, it was also to see like how a married life, how to put boundaries, you know, because like we were in the same environment, but now we're married
Yeah.
with our friends, you know, from the same group, and you know, and playing
Working in the
Risk,
same-
you know, you
Yeah,
got
playing
risk,
Risk.
playing Risk until like 2 o'clock in the morning, you know. So it was it took a while until we actually kind of created a routine and see like, okay, this is what our relationship should be. And yeah, but it was quite challenging, you know. In a sense, you get to know the person a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because you are there together, like. But if you're not wise, it can actually end your relationship because it's just too much friction. So if you don't know how to handle the conflict, it can really be hard. But it's a good test.
I think
Yeah.
it's important for
Never
us
see-
to.
It's a good test.
It is important for us to address this because oh my gosh, my mic's so loud. But if you are dating someone and they're living in different places, then you get to see a little bit of them each day, and not all the time. They're gonna give you like their real selves. Like if they're mad, they can be mad back home, and when they are with you, they could like portray the better person.
Yeah.
They're not doing this on purpose. It's just because they're in love. They want to show and represent the best, and that's really it's here in YWAM. When you are in a relationship, you're gonna see everything. You're gonna see
It's true.
your husband super sweaty, cleaning the garden. You're gonna see your not husband because you're not married yet. Like I'm talking about dating or engaged. You're gonna see your
Boyfriend,
Jesus.
girlfriend,
Yes, girlfriend.
significant
Thank you very
other.
much. Yes, your girlfriend in her period, and you're gonna go through the whole thing of PMS. Or
Yeah.
if you guys are mad, you're gonna see the worst. If you guys are happy, gonna go for good, and this makes you somehow fall in love with the person and know the person very very quickly. And that's why we also have a lot of problems sometimes in DTS because the same way that it can push people apart. If you're seeing the person and how vulnerable they are, how real they are with certain things, it kind of pushes you together, and you really want to know more of the person, and you fell in love with the person. So it's like it could be two ways. It's very intense when you are dating inside a mission. YWAM. I'm talking about YWAM. It's good. And it's bad, and you have, just like Lorena said, you have to find the balance for it. If you are here to do a DTS, then focus on your relationship with God. Forget about girls, forget about guys. And if you are dating or if you're about to get married, then just go with wisdom and the pace that you two should be accomplishing together. Yeah.
I really want to know your story, Liz. How did you and Brian meet?
Ooh. Oh, sorry. Okay, so my story is a little
She
bit.
got nervous.
Sinead, I love your comments. I really love your comments. I'm gonna tell my story. Okay, so Brian and I, we weren't in the same country. We weren't even in the same continent. My parents were actually here in Worcester, staffing a Troubadour DTS
At Faz house.
at Faz House, yes. And Brian
remember
was
the day.
also here, staffing the same DTS. And my parents, they really want to be to learn more English, so they were inviting Brian, and not only Brian, but other people, to actually learn how to speak better. And many times I had to talk to my parents, but they were so slow answering Facebook. And then I would talk with Brian, and he would right away just call my parents, and I could talk to them very fast. And with that, like going forth, my parents also really spoke about us, their children, all the time. So Brian and another friend keep calling my parents like mother-in-law and father-in-law. It's like, oh, when am I gonna marry your daughter? So this specific day, they were having a braai in Lou's house, and they start with this game, with this like. They're kind of chatting around, and then Lou decided to actually record. And then in this video, I have Brian literally proposing to me and say, Liz, I am 23, I think back then, 23. Liz McCarthy just sounds good. You just put my name together. It's like, I have a green card. I can offer you a green card.
Which still hasn't happened.
Yes, it's exactly. I don't have a green card yet. But anyways, Lou just recorded and she posted on Facebook and she tagged me, of course. And then I just went there and I saw. I was like, this guy's cute. Let me talk to him. And then we started talking online. Brian made the first move. Actually, he was the first one talking online with me. He's gonna say it's not, but it's true. I have the proof. It's in my Facebook. If I go in my history in my Facebook,
see?
he's the first one talking to me
I
right
wish
there.
there was internet like that in my time.
Exactly.
Yeah, you guys are
Oh my
letters.
gosh, I feel so old now.
Honey.
Oh Lord.
Brian is in the chat, so I don't know if you want to say something. But anyways, we spoke for like 7 months, around 7 months, and then Brian was invited by my parents to actually help with a King's Kids back in Brazil. And I was also going to start the same King's Kids.
Strategically invited.
Of course.
No, hear me out. Then my mom asked Brian, are you going to help me with the ministry or are you going just because of Lise? And then my dad say, he can do both.
Your dad wanted it so bad.
So my
cool.
dad
That's
is
a
like
cool
the
dad.
matchmaker. I
Yeah.
know. And before all of that, before we even like, my dad noticed that we are talking online, and then my dad just pulled Brian aside one day and it's like, okay, Brian, you is this what you want with Liz serious? Do you really want to go for with this? Because I don't want you playing with my girl, and I want the best for her, and I believe you're the best for her. It's like, but
Wow,
I'm
major
not
stamp
gonna,
of
I
approval.
know, right? But I'm not gonna like force her to do anything. If you want her, you're just gonna have to chase her. I was like, ooh, that's right, Dad. Anyways, we spoke a lot, and then Brian went to Brazil, and when he was about to come, my friends were like, aren't you afraid that he was just like smelly or he doesn't brush his teeth or he was like he has a weird thing, accent or something like that? And I was like, guys, we're not dating yet. We like each other, but like we're gonna know each other, to see if the chemistry is there. And like as soon as he arrived, the chemistry was there. We're like, we're dating.
We looked at each other. Yes, there's chemistry.
We kissed for
There
the
we
first
go.
time. It's like, yeah, we're dating. So he arrived in January. He proposed in March, and we were married in August. So it was like boom, boom, boom.
You didn't waste
Wow.
any time.
It was real fast.
There you go.
Okay, let me talk about my my proposal thing, because I was like engaged before and I hated the way it was because I cannot say, okay, but I didn't like it. I cannot go there because I'm going to expose someone. But I didn't like it, and I really want Brian to like propose with me like in secret. But if you guys don't know my mom really likes every type
Big
of
parties.
celebration, everything. She
Yes.
wants to record everything, take pictures of everything. And then Brian was like, I want it to be a surprise, and I want it to be only Lise and I. And I was like, yeah, but can we make at least like take a picture? I can just open the door just a little bit and like try to record just a little bit. And Brian's like, no, I really want specific to be like Lise and I. And then he did proposed the entire thing. It was a video. Oh, you're so cute. Anyways, but we figure out afterwards that my mom was actually listening in the door. Like,
That's so your mom.
she would do that. Eh? She would.
I can totally see
do that. Totally do that. And when we first met, my mom as well. I was like, Mom, it's the first time I'm gonna, because my parents went with me to the airport to meet Brian for the first time, and it's like, Mom, I just want it to be like our moment. Please don't record anything. Because she asked before, can I record you guys just like for the first time? I was like, no, it's going to be embarrassed enough. Just let us be. And so something happened. Brian got like late. And I was like so overwhelmed with all of this when we were arriving in the airport. And then my mom just asked like, can I record it? And I think I was like out of my space. And I was like, yeah, for sure. I didn't even know what I was talking about. I walked in. I saw Brian. I hugged. And I ran to hug him, and I was like so happy. And then my mom pretended this is us. Okay, pretend that
Let
this
me
is
hold.
yes. Hold this. Pretend that this is us. My mom was like literally recording like this, just going around us in the airport. We were hugging
my
and kissing, and she was doing that. And I was
gosh.
like, Mom. Anyways, yeah, the story is funny. That's true. The story is funny. But yeah, YWAM. Even we have one that they met by the gate. We have one that they met outside YWAM, and we have one that we met in different continents, in different bases in YWAM. So that's a thing. Yeah.
There you go.
Still waiting on mine.
What's your
I'm still waiting on mine.
story?
We're gonna hear one day Jen's story.
Yeah, have me back on like a reunion episode of this
Yes.
podcast, and I'll tell you all about it.
Yes.
No, but have you ever dated in YWAM?
I have, you know.
Yeah, maybe you can
I
help
have.
from that perspective, you know?
You don't have
What
to if
went
you don't
wrong?
want to.
Yes.
No, I like
you
I
don't
like
need to
talking about
expose
it.
anybody, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in
Please
YWAM.
expose everybody.
Yeah, let me just drop all these names, say what happened wrong.
Passport
No.
numbers and
Yeah, I've been in YWAM 5 years, and I've only dated 2 people in that time, so quite spread out. And I don't. This is the thing. I don't date just to date, right? Like I only
true.
want
Of course.
to date someone if there's marriage intentions, and if I can see that with someone, then yeah. But it's quite tricky being in missions and being like having the calling that I do. I want to work with human trafficking, and I want to start a safe house. It's quite a specific niche in missions. So like, oh my gosh, breaking down like the dating pool of Christians is like, okay, or of men, it's like, okay, they must be a Christian. They must have a calling towards missions. They must want to like live wherever in the world. They must want like they must have a passion for justice and like trafficking,
Yeah.
or have their own thing that like complements mine. Yeah, there's like all these things, and then like the collection of potential men just gets smaller and smaller, and right now I'm like,
actually they disappear.
oh, no. Yeah. My gosh. And right now I'm just like, okay, listen, I'm cool being single. Like I'm satisfied being single. I am like about to make a big change in my life, and yeah, I have so much freedom actually doing this as a single woman. Like I could move to a different continent when I was 20. I could
Ooh.
move again. Like I've been traveling like every 3 months or 6 months for the past 5 years, and I wouldn't have been able to do that necessarily in the same way or at all
That's
if I
true.
was married or had kids by now.
That's true.
So being single has been the biggest blessing, and the relationships that didn't work out, like obviously it's sad, and you know, I wish that things could have done differently, but I totally trust the Lord. And yeah, I don't know, I have really high standards and I don't want to lower them. I feel like I'm worth that, but then also like, is there anyone out there that meets them? I don't know. Let me know if you guys know anyone like that.
That's a subject for another podcast.
Exactly. So being single in missions is a dream. But yeah, I mean, I do want to get married someday. I do have desires for that. But yeah, right now it's amazing. I get to have the freedom of just me and the Lord. The Lord says, okay, go do that. Okay, cool, let's go. And that's a huge blessing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know, but there is a thing. There are communities and page accounts on Instagram or Facebook for single people in YWAM. So I don't know, just
Oh
put it
my
out there. That's a real thing, okay?
Yes,
If you
guys,
really
go
need to.
check it out right now.
Youth with the marriage.
No, there's all these acronyms like Youth with a Marriage, Yes We Arranged Marriages, Young Women After Men, like all these different things. It's so funny, all these acronyms we have for YWAM, because like they've all said finding relationships in YWAM is so easy, and like seeing them every day, then you just see them over and over again, and it just accelerates
Zandili
everything.
is saying, I'm with you, Jen.
Amen, my sister. Thank you.
Listen, that's a thing. Like, when you are in the YWAM, there's no way that you can pretend for 6 months. Eventually, you're going to have to reveal who you are. Or
Yeah.
someone is going to hate you forever, or they're going to fall in love with you. So that's a thing. That's a real thing.
Yeah, especially if you live on the same base and
Yeah.
you like do a school or staff together, especially on outreach. If you go on outreach with someone,
Yo.
you see someone's real colors.
Yeah.
You know if you can like, I don't know, seeing how someone handles like successes and losses and like how they worship, how they interact with other people. Like it just shows you so much.
I know, like, imagine a guy that really worships God, or you are in outreach and then he's taking care of, like, kids so well, and then you keep imagining, like, ooh, that would be a good husband.
Exactly,
Okay?
it's so
That's what
true.
we're talking about.
So true. Okay, can we just all agree that there's nothing more attractive than watching a guy worship? Or like,
dude.
like talk about Jesus. Or like,
Yes.
I don't know, lead a Bible study or something. I just
like
think it's
passion.
yeah.
Oh.
Exactly. The one married to a worship leader.
Yes,
true.
there you go. Guilty.
Ooh, guys, you stand already. Okay. We always think that we're not gonna have enough subject to talk, but being woman or
It's
being a man,
impossible, my friend.
Yeah,
we always go like an hour.
let us know in the chat if you want to have us do a part 2. I don't know if that's an option, but
That's an
yeah,
option.
if you want a
That could
part
definitely
2
be an
of like
option.
a woman only episode, I won't probably be here, but then we can have
but
other
we
people's
can-
perspective
yeah.
on women in missions.
That's
I
true.
think just the whole subject of relationships, it's a huge thing that can be explored, because
Yeah, it's true.
yeah, even if you look at the Apostle Paul, and if he says like, okay, if you're single and you're happy, just be like that, and and how controversial it was for his time, historically speaking. The society at that time, the woman would only have value if she was married.
She was married.
The man would only have value if he had kids. So there are a lot to explore that we can think about. And like, okay, I think what he wanted with that is not just to say be single or be married, but be content where you are. You understand? Like if you are single and you are happy with that, you are content, you find contentment in the Lord, not in being single or in being married.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think that is not the end goal.
Yeah, for
but that's
sure.
just a token
Ooh.
right there.
Wow, all these nuggets of wisdom.
I know.
But for me, like remembering my single days and being in missions, it can get really lonely in the mission field.
That's
You
true.
know, I mean, you go out there and you do ministry, you preach to people, and then after you go home and you're all by yourself,
Yeah, no,
yeah,
that's true.
and then you spend days and years, and I mean, we are all praying. When you're single, man, that is the biggest prayer you pray. Lord, I pray for my husband.
That's true.
Those are the prayers that you fast and you do Bible studies about marriage. And yeah, just remembering that, like, I think for me, there was a point where my heart was really not at rest. I mean, as much as, we have to focus on the Lord, my antennas were always like this, doo, doo, doo. Like, who is there? Like, always searching,
Yeah.
always looking. And yeah, it was a constant battle that, I had to always give it to the Lord, submit it to the Lord, like, Lord, please help me to rest, because I know you've called me for this. Because sometimes it can cause a bit of bitterness towards God.
That's true.
And you feel that
Yeah.
here you are, you have surrendered your life, you have
You
left,
had the whole list.
yeah, you have left everything, to serve him, and then you feel, here you are, not giving me this one thing that I want, this companionship that I feel would help me serve you better. You mean, like, God, it's going to be a husband who's going to serve as a family.
And me and my house
And
is
you, and you like, and you make this whole list to convince God that this is a good
Yes,
idea.
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, like, God, just do it. And for me, looking back now, I think some of those prayers were made out of desperation, immaturity, and really seeing, like, I think I wasn't ready. Like, sometimes you feel like, God, I'm ready, just bring that husband right now, whatever it is, I can handle this. But
Whatever it is, I can handle. Wow. Wow.
I think like you have like Jen has like super high standards, and Luz is like whatever you can.
I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Wow.
Yeah, but really it's a journey, and I mean, like, being single and serving God, I really believe it takes really just being transparent with him and really asking him to give you that will and that desire to be content with him, because otherwise there will always be these constant battles, and you see other missionaries getting married and you feel, God, you're blessing them, what about me? And you're looking at the biological clock and you're like, Jesus, I'm like, 30. Jesus, what's happening? It's kind of like, you are blessing them, but what about me? We are missionaries together, but it seems like the blessings are going on that side. They never come here. So yeah, it's really taking time to just surrender that. Lord, this is my desire. Because some people are called to be single.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really a hard pillow to swallow, because if God has really called you for that, it really will take the grace of God, to really walk in that journey. But yeah, I believe that something that helped me as a single person was really coming to lay down that desire of wanting to get married. Like, Lord, I give it to you. You will give me the husband when you see that I'm ready. You will give me the husband in your time. And that really gave me a lot of freedom, because
Yeah.
it can really steal away your time. Because I believe singleness, it's a blessing as much as
That's true.
being married is a blessing.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a season that will never come back again.
Yes.
Exactly.
You know, I
I
remember.
mean, I always say you can be divorced, God forbid. You can be a widow, but you
Yeah.
can never be single again.
Of course.
Ever.
So,
true.
yeah, and for me, even,
Ouch, that's true.
yeah.
Letting that sink
hard
in.
now.
Yes.
It's hard now.
Yeah. And, thinking about when Calvin proposed to me, I told him that I want to pray. I want to pray first. And for me, while I was
Wait,
praying,
you didn't say yes right away?
no.
Oh my gosh, that's
Oh
what
my
was his
God.
Keep him on his toes.
Yes, yes.
Oh my
So for me,
Brian was like the first.
Sorry. I feel for you now.
Brian asked me, he was like, do you want to marry him? I was like, oh my gosh, is that true? Are you doing this right now? I was like, woman, the answer. It was right away by
So-
Calvin. I was like, whoa.
yeah, because for me, and I felt like I wanted to be single for some few weeks before I can say yes. Because I don't know,
Wow.
in my head I was like, because once I say yes, I'm not gonna turn back again.
That's true.
So yeah.
Michaela is saying, Lucy, you savage.
Oh, Michaela. I love
Michaela,
you.
and also Carmen is here.
Yeah, I saw Carmen's name
Carmen
back
just
there too.
comment.
Oh, we have a question as well.
We have a question.
What are top 3 most important things that the ladies think our men should know with regards to relationships?
Ooh.
Top 3 things that men should know. What do you think, ladies?
Top 3 things.
Ooh, I have one.
Uh.
Okay, maybe this is old-fashioned of me, but I think that a man should truly pursue a woman.
I agree.
Ask
It's
her
biblical.
out. Yeah, do the thing. Call
in the
her
Bible.
first.
I
I don't
just-
know. Like, I also think that a woman can ask a guy out, but like, there should just be a level of pursuit coming from a man. Like, hey, I want to be with you. Let me show you my worth. Let me show you. Because then, like, as women, we're gonna pursue you right back. Like, it's
That's
not gonna
true.
be one-sided. I mean, I'm just speaking for myself now. Like,
If you are interested.
yeah, if like my last relationship I was in, he is the first man that ever like truly pursued me. He was like, I want to pursue you. I want to date you. Let me do that, and I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you that. I mean, he like surprised me and flew to Paris, which was like so extra. I'm not saying you guys have to do that, but like,
You have to
He-
take me to Paris, Brian.
but like.
Not even gonna say
He put
anything.
he put his actions behind his words. He was like, "Hey,
Ooh,
I want to
look
be
at
with
that.
you. I'm gonna actually do the thing that I say I'm gonna
That's
do."
very important. Put your actions behind your words.
Yeah,
Well
and
said.
pursue your woman. And
you
even after you're married, don't stop pursuing her. Take her
There
on
you
date
go.
nights.
There you
Danielle,
go.
take your wife on a date.
Brian.
Brian, take your wife on a
Brian
date.
is very good at it, actually. He's always I love
He
surprises.
loves you well.
And he really does. And he's very patient because sometimes I'm like the worst. But just sometimes.
Just sometimes. It's good.
Brian said,
the
"I can
worst
take you
almost
to the
every
dam
time.
by the base."
I'm very easy. I just want pocket money to buy my clothes every month. That's it. And Zinga wings eventually. That's it. And you have my heart.
Okay, can we have another top 3
Topic?
thing that men should know with regards to relationships? Any other nuggets of wisdom?
I know that's very hard for men in general to express, in general, not only feelings. And also goes for girls actually, because sometimes as girls we just want men to get the hint of what we're saying, and I think communication can always be so improved. So if you feel this way, or if you want something, voice it out, not in a for men, not in a aggressive way, but learn how to communicate with integrity, you know?
Yeah.
If you need to just like have counseling with someone or talk to someone to learn how to, but I think it's very important because as women, we love to take care of our man. So
Yeah.
I'm not talking. Please don't think that that's hinting for Brian. I'm just like in general, living with like friends that have boyfriends or they're married. Sometimes that's a concern that like the communication of how, not only how they're feeling, but like what's going on, like to be clear and yeah.
Yeah, I think one thing that I think every woman would appreciate in a man is if they're confident, you know, when they approach. I think
That's true.
you know,
Yeah, it's
if
true.
if a man comes and he's like, yeah, I'm not sure, and maybe, and, you know,
That's true.
then
That's
it's
true.
like, meh, meh, meh. You know,
Yeah.
not it's not like being bragging, you know, but really come like with a sense of confidence.
true.
I think that that is really a woman respects that. Even if
Not-
she doesn't like you, she will respect that.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
like
not being cocky.
not being cocky, exactly.
Yeah.
Because you know when those guys are just like run with light bikes, like,
Yeah, not like
or
that.
cars,
That's
or they
not the
just like
confidence I'm
they
talking about.
act, or they have like the
Exactly.
best like
There's a
advices.
difference.
Yeah.
No, Brian is saying here when the guy's not smelly, that's very true. Please, please,
Please
hygiene,
take a shower,
hygiene.
put some perfume,
true.
brush your teeth.
You say hint received. I'm not talking about you, Brian McCarthy. But I'm still waiting for my green card. I don't know when that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta speak
He
to
said it was a bait.
America about that.
So
Yeah, he said it was bait. Did you see
Yeah.
that?
I want my Zingo wings then instead.
okay.
I think we can. I think we can close from here. If you have girls or men, if you want to give your advice for men as well, comment down below. This is gonna be online, so other people can watch it later. So you still can comment and put your input. It's very valuable for us. Thank you very much for staying. It was really nice to have girls here tonight. I'm so
was really
glad.
nice.
Yes.
It was fun.
It was really
It
good.
was really good.
It was
and
fun.
I definitely want a second part of this. So stay tuned. Maybe we're going to have a second part of this. We have to talk to
That'd be
our
dope.
director first. I'm hearing about, yeah, we're definitely going to have to talk to our directors. Is that right, producer? Yeah.
Producer.
Okay, maybe second part. Okay. Okay, so I cannot give you a definite yes, but definitely yes. Okay, guys. God bless you all, especially and more the woman now. No, just
Oh
kidding.
my word. Bless all of you.
God bless you all.
Wow.
We love you all. Thank you very much for participating. Kisses. See you next Tuesday.
Bye-bye.
Bye.